All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because in today's video, we're going to be talking about a stock I own, SQY. Now, SQY is a Yieldmax Sq Option Income Strategy ETF. They are a Yieldmax ETF, which looks to replicate the price returns of Square. They don't own any underlying stock, which is Block, Square, the underlying, but they look to synthetically replicate strategy, and they write cover calls, as we all know, with the Yieldmax funds. Today, why we're talking about it is because they are currently up about 18% on the day, and the underlying Yieldmax fund is up about 12%. So what I'm going to do is I want to tell you guys why exactly this happened. This happened because of an earnings jump. Obviously, Square reported their earnings on February 22nd. And so basically, they had some really good earnings. That's why the stock is up. We'll get into that. I also want to tell you guys, since we have a Yieldmax stock that has really driven up in the past day, this is only today, what I want to do is talk about the Yieldmax implications and how this 12% is going to be affecting our dividends in terms of Yieldmax, and why days like this are both good and they are both bad. So we're going to get into all of that in this video. If you guys do please want to subscribe, it's totally your call. We are now up to 4,143,000, that'd be fantastic. 4,143 subscribers. All right, so now that is over, let's do this. So today we're talking about Square, and today is a great day because Square is currently up about 12%. It's a stock that I actually have about 22 shares in my portfolio. Last month, just to go to my payout calendar, it only paid me about $8. This was way down. Their dividend was way down. Square, you can see right here, $8.41 in the previous month. But with this new jump and increase in price, if Block, the underlying stock, is able to hold this $80 price per share, we are going to see a significant increase in SQY's dividend. Now, what I want to show you here quickly before we get into everything else is that Square's been paying out some pretty crazy dividends. Sure, the first one was about 40 cents, nothing crazy, similar to the last, but then in between we had $1.61 and we had $2.14 for a dividend. Now, because of this pretty substantial increase in the share price of the underlying, which is Block, I think we are going to see a pretty big dividend in SQY if the underlying stock is able to hold these levels. But the first thing that I do want to say, SQ is up roughly 18%, and the underlying SQY, which is the Yieldmax version, is only up about 12%. This is obviously very evident in Yieldmax strategies. They take all of the downside, but they are limited on the upside, and that is why they pay out these, for example, 21%, these high dividend yields. Now, what does this mean? This means that if Square was to potentially drop about 10% tomorrow, then we'd also most likely see about a 10% drop in SQY tomorrow. Now, the thing is, the reason why I say that, although this is great that Square ran up about 18% today, the reason why it's also not super amazing is you see the spread here. You see this little difference here where Block, the underlying stock, ran up 18%, and we only have a 12% run up in the underlying. And that just comes with the synthetic cover call strategy, and really the cover call strategy as a whole that Yieldmax is running. But that is the downside. Obviously, the upside is we do make a solid amount if you were to have bought SQY in the past few days. Obviously, you'd be up about 10-12%, and we are going to most likely see a pretty big increase in this dividend. Now, Yieldmax, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it here, but what they do is they generally look to have about 5 to 15% appreciation in the underlying stock. And when we look at Square, when we look at Block, over the past month, it's been super flat. It's been trading between $66 and about $62 or so. And we had this really big, massive jump of about 18% in a day. This is going to produce a pretty huge dividend for Square, for SQY, just because obviously we're capturing most of that 15%. Hopefully we'd be capturing most of that 15% in this big up move. It is obviously a lot better if the stock slowly appreciates over time, like we've seen in this November to December, almost January period. But nonetheless, if the stock increases, we should most likely see a dividend increase or distribution increase, as I should probably say. Now, another great thing for Square is that this price point that it's currently at, roughly $80 or so, it's sticking here at about 17%. It's been holding this level, which is fantastic. You can see here, hasn't really been fluctuating too much. But what's the significance? The significance is this is a level that we've watched in SQY and Square for a very long time. SQ Block has been hitting $80 here and back in February, back in July, back in December, and there was kind of a little bit of a downspout right here over the past few months or so where it trended back down from this $80 high. It's actually close to where I bought it, and then kind of consolidated. And I felt that Square, it's only a matter of time before it pushes through this $80 level, and I feel like maybe this is the boost that the stock needed in order to do so. Of course, we will find out in the next couple days whether SQ Square is able to push through and become a higher market cap stock with the share price appreciating over $80. This is a level that the stock has held for a very long time and could potentially push forward maybe up to $150, $160, which is double the current share price, or we could even see a crazy run up to about $260, $270. But that's obviously way ahead of ourselves. We got to break through this $80 level first. Now, really, the reason why Square also had this run up today is because it had a good earnings. Now, estimates came in at 2.4 billion in terms of the adjusted EBITDA. Well, or maybe this was what Square had it listed at before, but it adjusted it to about 2.65 billion, always adjusting up. That is a great move. And one thing as well is, if I could find here, that they reported their earnings, yes. So analysts expected an earnings of about 5.69 billion, while net revenue came in at 5.77 billion. And I pulled up kind of the income statement of Square, and you can see here that at 5.77 billion, which they just reported, that is going to be the best month that they've had. And Square, the underlying stock for the SQY Yieldmax fund, you want to see that it's slowly appreciating over time. It's slowly, the revenues are growing and growing every single quarter. You can see here, they are more than $1 billion than they were last year or 2 years ago, which is fantastic. 2 years ago, to be exact, which is fantastic. We want to see that growing, and every single month Square is growing, and in turn I do believe that their share price should be growing. This is why I wanted to bring this stock to your attention. I wanted to bring this date to your attention, and obviously I am an owner in the stock, which I'm going to disclose. I'm not currently buying anymore, but I'll let you guys know in the future. So this was a video all on Square. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I didn't want to make it super long. I just wanted to get to the point that Square had a great run up, and what it was going to potentially do for the dividend. I definitely think it will be increasing it. And as well, it's a great day if you are a holder of Square or SQY, the Yieldmax version. And I just wanted to get everything clear to you guys. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please do remember to subscribe. We are currently up to 4,143 subscribers. I want to say thank you guys for sticking around, enjoying this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video with any future updates, anything you guys want. Take it easy, guys.